Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 250 based on novel. So let's start. Russell's pupils shrank and his divine sense spread out. The divine sense of a mid-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator was far stronger than early-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivators. As his divine sense spread out, it caused the remaining 7 golden giants to shine brightly. It also created a powerful pressure within the area. The 7 golden giants rushed out toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he didn't stop. He charged out with the Karma Whip before him. The whip wrapped around Wang Lin and extended into a 1,000-foot-long whip. Then Wang Lin immediately grabbed the whip. With one shake, the Karma Whip let out a sharp whistle that was like the howling of a ghost. Then it immediately lashed forward. One of the golden giants was immediately hit and collapsed with a bang. The Karma Whip was originally black, but after destroying 4 golden giants, it was as if it was shedding and scale-like pieces began to peel back. Bursts of golden light leaked out from the Karma Whip. It was as if the whip had absorbed the power of the sun and moon. The Karma Whip lashed out while giving off a golden glow like a dragon. As it moved, there was a series of popping sounds and the remaining golden giants all collapsed. This scene caused all the viewers' eyes to bulge out. Even the old monsters on the praying mats became interested. An early-stage Nirvana Scryer battling a mid-stage Nirvana Scryer, this is uncommon. I know this person, he is Shumu. That magical treasures is too vicious, it is specialized in injuring divine sense. Russell's divine sense is unpredictable, but he has met his match. Master Demon Shumu? No wonder this person dared to battle Russell. Lord Shengong, who was watching the battle between Wang Lin and Russell. His mind trembled and his blood began to boil. While he stared at Wang Lin, the respect in his eyes gradually became reverence. Although it wasn't to the point of fanaticism, his opinion of Wang Lin was currently very high. Zhong Konglai was also watching this scene, and he took a deep breath. He could vaguely see that powerful battle intent from Senior. It was just as Senior had said, that battle intent was the determination to win. Wang Lin's black hair floated in the air as he charged at Russell. This entire area was pressured by Russell's divine sense, so he felt as if he was trudging through water. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his left hand formed a seal. The 2 black dragons started rotating around Wang Lin's body, forming a giant vortex. This vortex immediately became crazy. It was like a storm with 2 roaring, black dragons inside. Wang Lin was standing inside the storm with his white robe flapping in the wind, and he shouted, "Break!" With that, the vortex formed by the black dragons suddenly expanded, creating a series of crackling sounds. The impact created by the 2 black dragons forced open a gap within the divine sense suppression. Although Wang Lin's cultivation and divine sense were no match for Russell, his spells were amazing and he had a treasure that specialized against divine sense. The moment an opening was created, the Karma Whip immediately lashed out. As rumbling sounds echoed, Russell's divine sense suppression collapsed and was pushed back. Wang Lin's figure moved like lightning and charged out the moment the divine sense collapsed. The 2 black dragons let out roars and blasts of cold wind toward Russell. This cold wind filled the area and caused the surrounding cultivators to feel cold. It was as if they were trapped in ice, and their expressions changed greatly. Russell's expression was gloomy. Killing intent flashed across his eyes and then he simply sat down and formed a seal with his hands. He completely ignored the blast from the black dragons and closed his eyes. Russell, I'm at the mid-stage of Nirvana Scryer. If I can't kill you, then my thousands of years of cultivation have been a waste. The moment Russell closed his eyes, a powerful surge of divine sense came out of his body and turned into countless needles. There were endless needles formed by his divine sense all around him. Thousands of them gathered and formed a dense group around him before they all shot toward Wang Lin. Every single sharp needle contained Russell's changed divine sense. This was the spell that made him famous and the spell that all the seniors praised him for. Among cultivators, a majority of spells focus on power transformed from their own bodies, very few directly attack the origin soul. However, if you bring up a divine sense attack, it would shock any cultivator. Spells formed from the body can be resisted, but divine sense spells specialize in injuring the origin soul. Once one's origin soul is damaged, on the less serious side it will be a serious injury, but the victim is more likely to have a drop in cultivation level or die. The spell Yao Bing Yun used back then could be considered one. However, that was a fusion of divine sense and origin energy. Although it was effective, it also had its flaws. However, the spell Russell displayed was pure divine sense without any origin energy, and this made it even stronger. It was precisely because he put all his effort into his divine sense that he could have such a high status in the Thunder Celestial Temple with his mere mid-stage Nirvana Scrya cultivation. You acted first, I'm merely defending myself, so accept your death. As Russell shouted, his eyes suddenly opened and countless divine sense needles shot toward Wang Lin. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, then both of his hands formed a seal and he pushed forward. The two black dragons formed by Call the Wind blasted out cold wind and intersected with the divine sense needles. They seemed transparent to each other as they directly went through each other, and the blast from the black dragons went directly at Russell. The divine sense needles quickly closed in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was calm. If he was facing a real mid-stage Nirvana Scrya cultivator, the battle would have been difficult. After all, each gap in cultivation at the second step was huge. However, this Russell was using divine sense. If it was someone else, Russell's divine sense would be difficult to deal with. After all, the difference in cultivation levels represented the difference in divine sense as well. The stronger cultivator will crush the weaker one. However, Wang Lin didn't even consider the divine sense attack a threat. The moment those divine sense needles closed in, the Karma Whip lashed out. After a series of popping sounds, a large amount of divine sense needles collapsed. However, there were too many, so some of them bypassed the Karma Whip and entered Wang Lin's body. They turned into a powerful force and charged toward Wang Lin's origin soul. However, the moment they got close to Wang Lin's origin soul, they collided with the ancient god leather armor and collapsed. With the ancient god leather armor, this kind of divine sense attack wasn't enough. At this moment, the black dragons closed in on Russell and his expression became grim. His hand formed a seal and he pointed between his eyebrows. He didn't even look at the black dragons, he only stared at Wang Lin. An array of green light came out from between his eyebrows. The green light was bright and soon formed a green snake. This green snake opened its vicious mouth and exposed its sharp fangs. It let out a hiss and charged out. The moment the Karma Whip landed on the snake split into two. After avoiding the whip, it went from the right and left sides and landed on Wang Lin's body. The two green snakes entered his body and turned into two strands of unimaginable force that charged toward Wang Lin's origin soul. One of the strands was a bit faster than the other. When it got close to Wang Lin's origin soul, it opened its mouth and attempted to devour it. However, its fangs collided with the ancient god leather armor and broke, but the snake's fierceness wasn't reduced, it slammed into the armor. The moment the snake collided with the ancient god leather armor, it turned into green gas and attempted to get through the armor. At this moment, the other green snake arrived. It opened its mouth and mercilessly attempted to devour Wang Lin's origin soul. The ancient god leather armor trembled, causing the green snake to collapse with a miserable groan. The green gas moved around the leather armor. No one outside could see the dangerous scene inside his origin soul. Just a moment of carelessness would have resulted in death. Wang Lin's face was pale and his eyes were filled with killing intent. His fingers formed a sword and he charged at Russell. Russell's pupils shrank. His eyes became filled with terror and he exclaimed, "Impossible." He couldn't believe that his mid-stage Nirvana Scrya divine sense attack had caused the other party no damage. This went against his thousands of years of cultivation. Even if he has a treasure specialized in protecting his origin soul, my cultivation level is one small realm above his and I have specialized my divine sense attacks for thousands of years. Even if there is a celestial treasure that protects the origin soul, there is no way he takes no damage. While Russell was shocked, the two black dragons mercilessly tried to devour him. Russell's face was pale. His mastery of origin energy was a lot weaker than his understanding of divine sense. However, he was still a mid-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator, and naturally he had a lot of treasures. At this moment, he slapped his bag and a small drum appeared. He threw the drum into the air and it immediately grew. As the two black dragons closed in, the drum began to beat, creating a powerful gust of wind. However, under the blasts of the two black dragons the drum immediately trembled and the sound of the drum stopped. As Russell retreated, he pointed at the drum and shouted, "Drum, collapse!" As the drum trembled, a powerful force immediately came out. The force formed a storm that collided with one of the black dragons. An earth-shaking sound that caused the surrounding cultivators' ears to ring echoed. The drum collapsed and one of the black dragons also shattered into pieces. Wang Lin moved like lightning. At the moment the drum collapsed, he rushed out and landed on the remaining black dragon. He rushed toward Russell filled with killing intent. Wang Lin knew that because Russell's divine sense spell was broken, Russell's mind was shaken and an opening had appeared. If he didn't take this opportunity to attack and allowed Russell to recover, then this battle would drag on. This was especially true if Russell started using origin spells. If it came to that and Wang Lin was a bit careless, he would lose. Although, with Qing Shui here, he wasn't likely to die, but his qualification to continue would disappear. As he charged out, Wang Lin raised his hand and the celestial sealing stamp charged out. It smashed toward Russell at an even faster speed. Russell's expression was pale, but his eyes shined brightly. He stopped worrying about his divine sense spell being broken and his right hand formed a seal. Origin energy gathered in his hand and formed a bolt of flaming thunder. Just as Russell was about to throw it, killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes and he shouted, "Stop!" With one word, Russell immediately felt countless threads reach out from the void and wrap around him. Although he broke free after a slight struggle, the celestial sealing stamp came smashing down on him. At the same time, the hundreds of thousands of golden runes flew out and surrounded Russell. Russell's heart was depressed. Origin spells were not his strong suit, his strongest power was his divine sense. However, it had no effect on Wang Lin, which made him very bitter. After breaking free of the stop spell, Russell threw the flaming thunderbolt in his hand. The flaming thunderbolt immediately grew to more than 100 feet wide. A big mouth appeared within the flaming thunderbolt and it attempted to devour the celestial sealing stamp. The flaming thunder caused the entire celestial sealing stamp to be covered in flames. However, the stamp wasn't damaged at all and mercilessly smashed down. There was a loud bang when the celestial sealing stamp smashed down. Russell had a gloomy expression as he escaped. His clothes were somewhat damaged and his eyes were slightly red. "I refuse to believe you can continue to resist all my divine sense spells." Russell's eyes were bloodshot as he charged out at Wang Lin. As he charged out, his divine sense spread out and formed a pair of hands. The hands clapped together then and divine sense ripples charged out at Wang Lin. The stop spell was broken, causing Wang Lin's mind to be shaken, and he suffered the backlash. As he moved, he slapped his bag of holding and took out an origin soul to help him recover his origin energy. At this moment, not only did Russell not retreat, but he charged forward and the ripples closed in on Wang Lin. The Karma Whip moved and continued to lash out before Wang Lin. The ripples immediately collapsed, but some of them still got through and landed on Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's expression turned pale. Although the ancient god leather armor was strong, some vibrations were still transmitted to his divine sense. His eyes were filled with killing intent and he also stepped out. Both of his hands formed a seal and heavenly chops appeared from both hands. Heavenly chops flew out one by one from his hands. Russell and Wang Lin began to move faster and faster. One side attacked with divine sense and defended with origin energy. The other side attacked with origin energy and defended with divine sense. The two of them began an earth-shaking battle. Explosions continued to echo and the battle between the two became even more fierce. Enough. Just when their battle had reached its peak, Master Flamespark let out a roar with a frown. Along with his roar was a powerful origin energy that squeezed the space between the two. This caused their battle to stop and the two to retreated. A flash of killing intent appeared in Qing Shui's eyes. He let out a cold snort and a ray of G-realm shot out. Wang Lin's face was deathly pale when he only felt an unimaginable force suddenly appear during the battle. This caused his body to tremble and he was forced to retreat and cough out a mouthful of blood. After he landed, he took several steps back. As for Russell, he also coughed out a mouthful of blood and was forced to retreat. After taking a few steps back, he stared at Wang Lin with a murderous gaze. Master Flamespark didn't favor either side when he forced them apart. However, the mouthful of blood from Wang Lin caused the G-realm from Qing Shui to shoot out. He is not someone you can kill. You don't have the qualifications. The G-realm appeared and the world changed colors. A cold aura surrounded the area. This cold aura was filled with an extreme force. The expressions of the old monsters on the praying mats all changed. This was the first time they had seen Celestial Lord Qing Shui's most powerful spell. Even the expressions of the surrounding cultivators instantly changed. Stop! Master Flamespark suddenly stood up, but he was too late. Russell only felt an irresistible force rush into his body. He only saw red, as if a bolt of red lightning had entered his body. After that, he only heard the sound of his origin soul collapsing inside his body. As this sound entered his ears, an unimaginable pain moved inside his body. Russell's origin soul wasn't able to resist this red lightning bolt at all. His origin soul immediately shattered into countless pieces that pierced his body. This caused a large amount of blood to burst out of his body. He struggled to turn around to look at the person who killed him, but he only turned around halfway before his eyes dimmed and he fell to the ground. His breathing stopped and he was dead. A flash of red light came from Russell's body. The red lightning bolt took the energy from Russell's origin soul and returned to Qing Shui. His face turned slightly red. Silence, the surrounding was completely silent. This sudden development caused all the cultivators to gasp. They lost their ability to think as they recalled the unimaginable thing that had just occurred. Qing Shui. Master Flamespark's gaze toward Qing Shui was fierce and filled with rage. Qing Shui calmly said, "You made Xu Mu cough out blood, so I wanted that person's life." Master Flamespark stared at Qing Shui and said, "I wasn't biased at all earlier. Qing Shui, if you don't give me an explanation, then even if we have to trash the celestial title competition, I'll fight with you. It was merely an accident. If you want to fight, then let's fight." Qing Shui's right eye flashed red. He had absorbed the divine retribution, so his G-realm had recovered a bit. His old habits began to gradually reveal themselves. There was no need to kill Russell. If there was really a reason, then it was because Qing Shui was biased. He couldn't repay his master's kindness. Even though his master was only joking back then, right now he was very serious and cared about every word his master had said. In his heart, Xu Mu was his junior apprentice brother, and as long as he was here, no one was allowed to bully Xu Mu. Moreover, Qing Shui had clearly seen the killing intent in Russell's eyes. He had to kill someone like this. Wang Lin silently pondered. He looked at Qing Shui and respectfully said, "Thank you, senior apprentice brother." After he said that, it immediately set off a wave. Senior apprentice brother? This Xu Mu is senior Qing Shui's junior apprentice brother? This matter is too inconceivable. I didn't think that Qing Shui and Xu Mu would have the same teacher. Rumor has it that Celestial Lord Qing Shui's master was Celestial Emperor Bai Fan. This Xu Mu, is he Bai Fan's disciple as well? No wonder Xu Mu has been so arrogant in these recent years. So it turns out this Xu Mu's senior apprentice brother is Celestial Lord Qing Shui. HMPH, if not for Celestial Lord Qing Shui, this Xu Mu would be nothing. Xu Ting's expression was gloomy as he licked his lips and stared at Wang Lin. His mind spun rapidly, but in the end he looked at Qing Shui with fear in his eyes and made a decision. As for the six-fingered cultivator and the big-headed boy, they were both startled and they each had their own thoughts. 11 Zifeng's mouth was wide open. She felt disbelief regarding the relation between Wang Lin and Qing Shui. While she felt joy, but at the same time she couldn't help but sigh. I'm afraid nothing will ever happen between him and someone like me in my lifetime. My lord is actually the disciple of Celestial Emperor Bai Fan, the junior disciple of Celestial Lord Qing Shui. Zhong Konglai stared dumbfoundedly at the scene before him. He made up his mind. As for Nan Gonghan, he wryly smiled and thought, this Xu Mu has the same master as Celestial Lord Qing Shui. I should get on friendlier terms with him, it will definitely benefit me in the future. Not only him, but even the eyes of some of the old monsters on the praying mats lit up. Only Blood God sneered in his heart. Bursts of discussion entered Master Flamespark's ears. He looked at Qing Shui and, after silently pondering for a moment, he smiled. Since Celestial Lord killed him by accident, then we will discuss this matter later. However, Celestial Lord, please consider the fact that it isn't easy for us cultivators to cultivate, so please be more careful next time. Qing Shui closed his eyes and didn't respond. Master Flamespark let out a sigh in his heart. It was he who unlocked Qing Shui's seal. Although Qing Shui's cultivation hadn't recovered, after careful observation, he found that there was a power hidden inside Qing Shui's body. This power wasn't the G realm, but it still made him feel fear, so he really didn't want such a trivial matter to affect their relationship. More importantly, even the respected senior who captured the moon beast told him to not provoke Qing Shui. Back then, even Bai Fen used goodwill and took him as an apprentice to get Qing Shui on his side instead of using force to make Qing Shui yield. Russell was too arrogant. Since he is dead, but it is really unfortunate to lose his understanding of divine sense spells. Master Flamespark's eyes fell on Wang Lin and thought, this Xu Mu must have a powerful treasure protecting his origin soul. Perhaps it was a gift from Qing Shui. Master Flamespark's voice was calm as he said, Xu Mu qualifies. Since Russell had died, Master Flamespark commanded someone else to be the judge. The person who came to replace Russell was shocked by Russell's death. Eventually, out of the 325 people, 196 remained. The rest were all sent outside by the transfer arrays. The second trial, the Earth trial. Master Flamespark's right hand formed a seal and pressed down toward the Thunder Lake below. An illusory rune condensed in his hand and quickly landed on the square. The moment the print landed, the entire square began to rumble. Endless rumbles of thunder echoed and lightning arched within the square. It was as if it had turned into a real lake made of thunder. These lightning bolts were like silver snakes that constantly flashed. They were densely packed together before they suddenly scattered in all directions and 30 feet of open space appeared at the center of the square. Withstand for 15 breaths of time and you pass. The rest will be disqualified. Roars came from the Thunder Lake. A giant thunder spirit formed from the thunder outside the open area. As it moved, it gave off an oppressing aura. The gazes of the surrounding cultivators all fell on Wang Lin. Wang Lin was absolutely the highlight of the last trial. Everyone wanted to see how long Xu Mu would withstand the second trial. Even some famous old monsters started to pay attention. The pressure of other thunder spirit in the Thunder Lake is not something ordinary people can withstand. Even this Xu Mu can only withstand 20 breaths at most. After all, even out of all the messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple who cultivate thunder cultivation methods, there aren't many that could withstand more than 20 breaths. As far as I know, this Thunder Lake is one of the trials to become a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple. The messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple are divided into 4 ranks. If you can withstand 20 breaths, you are rank 4, and 80 breaths makes you rank 1. If you can last more than 100 breaths of time, you can become a messenger of the Inner Temple. I don't know how long this Xu Mu can last, but I'm somewhat looking forward to it. This Thunder Lake tests real cultivation, so there will probably be no miracles for this Xu Mu. I'm more optimistic about Xu Ting from planet Dong Lin. The surrounding cultivators quietly chattered. Wang Lin looked at the Thunder Lake and at the wandering Thunder Spirit. The human trial at least had some difficulty, but looking at the Earth trial, the strangeness in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger. 11 Zifeng bit her lower lip as she looked at Wang Lin and then at the Thunder Lake before worry arose in her heart. She touched her bag for a long time and clenched her teeth. Ignoring the red on her cheeks, she flew into the air like a butterfly. The surrounding cultivators were all shocked as she flew toward the participants. She was already beautiful, and right now her face was red and she was charging at Wang Lin. She lowered head and took out a green jade. Then she softly said, "This I give you." With that, she handed the jade to Wang Lin and quickly flew back with a red face. When she returned, she could hear her own heart racing. After she returned, she immediately lowered her head and her mind went blank. The 11th family ancestor let out a sigh in her heart when she saw this. Her eyes revealed a complex expression. Enter the Thunder Lake. At this moment, Master Flamespark's voice echoed between the heavens and earth. His voice turned into rumbling thunder, causing a huge change in the Thunder Lake. The open space in the center was suddenly filled with thunder, and the entire square became a real Thunder Lake. As waves of thunder moved within the Thunder Lake, the pressure it gave off caused the scalps of a majority of the cultivators to go numb just from looking at it. The thunder spirit moving through the Thunder Lake was like a snake. It would occasionally form its body inside and let out a roar. Shooting let out a cold snort and walked toward the Thunder Lake. The moment he set foot in it, countless thunderbolts arched between his feet and instantly spread across his body. He was surrounded by thunder. Shooting's body trembled before he took a deep breath. He then took 5 steps forward and sat down in the lotus position. After him, Shengong stepped out. His cultivation was related to thunder and he would often go to places like this. This was not even his first time stepping into this Thunder Lake. He was extremely calm as he entered and sat down in the lotus position. Shortly after, others followed and entered the Thunder Lake. However, there were a few people whose cultivation was lacking. Immediately after they entered the Thunder Lake, their bodies trembled and they quickly retreated. Their faces became pale, as if they were injured. Wang Lin held the jade 11th and gave him and looked at it. Then he looked at 11th, whose face was completely red, but she didn't dare to look at him. He let out a sigh. With a sweep of his divine sense, he knew that this jade could defend against powerful thunder. It was obviously an important self-defense treasure she possessed. As he pondered, he put the jade away inside the folds of his robe and walked into the Thunder Lake. Although 11th had her head lowered, she saw what Wang Lin had done. When she saw Wang Lin put the jade inside the folds of his robe, her heart began to beat even faster. However, at this moment, she didn't see that her cousin, the extremely handsome man in blue, looked at Wang Lin after he entered the Thunder Lake. There was a very well-hidden trace of hostility in his gaze. Wang Lin's expression was neutral as he entered the Thunder Lake. The moment his right foot touched the Thunder Lake, he felt a powerful surge of thunder rush into his body from his right foot. A very comfortable feeling immediately swept over him, as if this was his home. However, he didn't show it on his face. As he walked, thunder continued to move around his body and rumbled endlessly. After finding an open place, Wang Lin sat down in the lotus position. The second trial starts now. The drum will measure the time. After Master Flamespark shouted, 2 messengers immediately arrived. Then a black light flashed between the two and a large drum appeared. Dong! A long beat of the drum suddenly echoed across the heavens and earth. It seemed to replace the roar of the thunder. One drumbeat was one breath. Within the Thunder Lake almost 200 cultivators sat their cultivation. As the first drumbeat echoed, the thunder within the Thunder Lake seemed to be shaken and rose 3 inches off the ground. The thunder roared and endless bolts of thunder flashed about, forming a thunderstorm. Within the thunderstorm, the thunder spirit moved and released the might of the thunder. This caused a shocking change to occur inside the Thunder Lake. Large amounts of thunder entered the bodies of the various cultivators like crazy. Some of them focused themselves to confront it or took out treasures to defend themselves. At this moment, the Thunder Lake shined brightly. Shooting was surrounded by black mist, which was preventing the thunder from entering his body. The other cultivators all had their own methods of resisting. Wang Lin just sat there as the thunder whistled past him and large amounts of thunder entered his body to nourish his origin soul. This caused the injuries he had suffered from battling Russell to quickly recover. This was an extremely comfortable feeling. He closed his eyes and didn't even bother to look at other people. Dong! The second drum beat echoed, then the thunder inside the thunder lake became even stronger. The thunder spirit let out a roar and began swing a thunder whip. Every time it landed on the body of a cultivator, it would cause them to tremble. The drum echoed. The third beat, the fourth beat. Until the 10th beat, when the thunder within the thunder lake reached a shocking degree. The countless bolts of thunder had become 30 feet tall, engulfing everything inside. There was immediately a cultivator from the southern domain whose face turned pale and he coughed out blood. It was as if he had been hit by a powerful force and his body flew out with a large amount of thunder. Blood came out from his body. He was injured. The mist around Shu Ting became even stronger, as if it could isolate the thunder. His expression was neutral as he stared at Wang Lin. He had been observing Wang Lin ever since Wang Lin entered, and Wang Lin's actions were simply too strange. This Shu Mu actually didn't put up any resistance or use any magical treasures. He's just calmly sitting there as if this is a place for him to cultivate. What's stranger is that the powerful thunder that entered his body is actually disappearing. The more Shu Ting thought, the more shocked he was. He couldn't help but come up with various guesses, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't come up with the real answer. In the sky, one of the messengers swung his hand and hit the black drum. The 11th drum beat suddenly began to echo within the rumbling thunder. All the thunder within the thunder lake seemed to shake and gather in one spot. A moment later, a 1,000-foot-long snake formed. It was a snake, but it was also like a dragon and was formed from thunder. Its entire body from top to bottom gave off the pressure of thunder. It was the thunder spirit. Roar! The thunder spirit took form and quickly let out a roar. This roar echoed and turned into roaring thunder that seemed to come from ancient times. It shook the heavens and the minds of all the cultivators. Even the black mist around Shu Ting almost collapsed. His eyes revealed a hint of shock while even more mist came out from between his eyebrows. If Shu Ting was like this, then there was no need to talk about the other cultivators. Under this heaven-shaking roar, more than 10 cultivators coughed out blood and were thrown out. As the 12th, 13th, and 14th drumbeats echoed, the roar from the thunder spirit became even more intense. In the end, when the 15th drum beat echoed, the thunder spirit charged out. It opened its mouth and spat out large amount of thunder. The rumbling caused the sky to change colors. The expressions of the surrounding cultivators changed. Although they were outside, they could still feel the irresistible power of the heavens might within the thunder. This pressure had gathered and reached its peak when the thunder spirit spat it out. This time, dozens of cultivators coughed out blood and were thrown away. The terror in their eyes had reached a shocking degree. Shen Gonghu bitterly struggled. His limit back then was 15 breaths. Right now there was a belief in his heart that made him hold on. Shen Konglai took a deep breath and clenched his teeth as he withstood the thunder. Even the six-fingered cultivator and the big-headed boy were the same. However, they were obviously not using their full power and were more relaxed. However, their level of relaxation couldn't remotely compare to Wang Lin's. As Wang Lin sat there, large amounts of thunder entered his body and nourished his origin soul. The injuries he had suffered earlier had completely recovered. Not only that, but even the hidden injuries he suffered from Yao Bingyun were completely gone. As for the thunder spirit's roar filled with the might of thunder, when it landed in Wang Lin's ears, it was like a child roaring at him. Although it felt a bit strange, this was exactly what he felt. Although this child was extremely powerful in others' eyes, in Wang Lin's eyes, it was still a child. More accurately, it was a child that was continuously evolving toward a thunder dragon. Wang Lin's expression was neutral and he ignored everything around him. He closed his eyes and focused on absorbing the thunder. This caused his ancient thunder dragon origin soul to gradually become stronger. After 15 beats from the drum, the restriction on the thunder spirit was released. It let out a roar and its body swept the area, setting off waves of thunder. More than 10 cultivators were hit. Their faces turned pale and they were knocked out. The thunder spirit seemed extremely happy as it let out a roar and began sweeping once more. This time, Wang Lin was included in a group of people swept up by it. The moment the Thunder Spirit swept over, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and stared at the Thunder Spirit. His gaze was like that of an adult watching an ignorant child who was playing around. This video will end here.